Hey everyone, welcome. It's Thursday nights with Mel and myself. I hope everybody's doing good. Always good to be here with Mel. How are you doing, Mel?
I'm good. I just finished reading Two Ladies Who Drove All the Way from Kansas City, Missouri. Amanda Dowell, who is a psychic, and I'm encouraging her to do a YouTube show. And Bethany Caudle, who is a country and western singer, and I love country and western music. And so she brought me a bunch of CDs, and I went on YouTube. Her stuff was really, really good. So I'm in it. I was excited. So anyway,
Very
that's why I'm
cool.
in my office yet still. So hi, ladies. They're driving on their way back now, but hopefully when they get home they'll see it. They were just such a treat and such a delight. So that's what makes this work all worthwhile.
Yeah. Well, that's a long drive too. So
Yeah, 7 hours.
yeah. I
So
like what Zach says. I'm going to post it real quick. For entertainment purposes only, everything said here is top secret. Tell no one.
Zach, that was good. Can I do an infomercial real quick?
Or
Okay, I still have room for Africa. If you're interested, 847-590-5411. That's my office. Or go on my website, www.meldoerr. That's Mel, M-E-L, Doerr, Doerr.com. And the brochure is on there. Ryan is one deck is sold out, the Horizon deck. I'm sorry, the Vista deck. There's rooms up on the top deck and there's rooms on the lower deck. So, but I've still got some openings for Africa. So, and if you book it by the end of this month, which is not far away, you get $100 discount. So there you go. Infomercial over.
yeah, hurry up and reach out. It's going to be a wonderful trip. So.
Thank you, Kevin.
I'll just say I just wanted to make a couple housekeeping things to talk about before we get started. And me and Mel will be doing our usual political and current events. So if you have any questions, go ahead and write them in the chat, all caps, a couple heart emojis. We'll get to as many as possible. I'm about 150 subscribers away from 11,000.
Yes.
So if you haven't subscribed, please do me a solid. Please subscribe. When we get to 11,000, we'll be doing a free reading and a free Reiki giveaway. We just hit 10K last month, so a lot of growth, and I really appreciate that.
I'm sorry. So you hit 10K last month, and what are you at now?
I'm like 150 away from 11K. So
that's almost 1,000 subscribers in a month. That's really good.
Let's get to 20K this year. That would be awesome.
So what do you think I'll get to by the end of this year?
End of this year? Where are you at now? Are you at like 21?
Almost 21.
Almost 21. I think you'll get close to 30, maybe 30.
Oh, good. I'll take that.
Yeah. But the other thing that I just wanted to bring up, and I know that the energy has been a bit heavy. I've said for 2024, it's going to be so important for us to stay grounded. But I don't tolerate any negative comments towards my subscribers, to my guests that I'm collaborating with, or myself. I do think some of them were trolls from the last couple shows, but I just don't care for that kind of negativity or on my channel. So if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. And if you can't control yourself, there's other channels you can watch. I do block and remove those comments. So just putting it out there. I think we can all be respectful and be supportive of one another, especially through these trying times. So, all right, enough with that. Is there anything that you wanted to read on, Mel? I've been a bit busy today, so I haven't caught much of the news.
I haven't had time to even look. It's been a crazy day, but I agree with you. The other night we were doing a show, not you and I, but the Poly Tarot thing, and there was a troll who put some negative comments up, and I first put them in timeout, and then I just deleted them. So, I mean, if you have a positive suggestion, we're open to that. But if it becomes denigrating and nasty, forget about it. I don't tolerate that.
And some of them were pointless. I mean, somebody wanted to make a comment that I need to get a better wardrobe because I wear hoodies because my studio space is in the basement, which I I have 5 of these hoodies in different colors, and I love wearing them. They're comfortable for me, but it really doesn't affect anybody else. And I would say that it's really, 99.9% of the community is so wonderful and so giving and supportive. So it's just the less than 1% that, want to project their own misery onto other people. But I just don't tolerate it.
Well, number one, I like your hoodies.
No, thanks. I like your Aloha shirt.
Yeah, well, it's not on right now.
One today, but
well, this hides the turkey chin, so that I look like a priest. It looks like I got my neck in a cast. Remember in the beginning we were trying to think of a moniker for you, and we said call yourself, the hoodie psychic or whatever.
Right.
So that's what I'm going to call you. That's what I'm going to call you from now on. Hey, hoodie.
Yeah.
I like them. That's almost like your trademark, and that's okay.
Right. And and I try not to take it personally. Like I said, I normally just ignore them, but I don't know. I think the energy's been a bit weird, and people want to project their own stuff onto other people. Or me and my guests aren't everybody's emotional punching bag. So if you don't have something nice to say, maybe take a break and watch when you're calmed down.
It's funny. I was just discussing that with the people who left about, they're fans of ours,
Mm-hmm.
and just discussing it with them. So we just had this conversation. So I'm like, oh, the universe must be trying to tell us to get it out there.
Right.
Anyway.
All right, you guys. Enough of that. Let's get started on some questions. I know a lot of the questions coming in were about the border stuff. And I hadn't heard this, but Sweet Darling says that Trump calls on states to deploy National Guards to Texas as states clash with federal government on border crisis. And then she wants to know what will happen.
Going on. So essentially, what's going on is he is almost calling for an insurrection again, but he forgets the president can take over the National Guard.
Right.
And so, he can call on them all he wants, but he's not the president. And, he needs to be careful with these shenanigans. So, because he's going to get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about getting people all riled up. Like he's trying to call for civil war. I don't see it going
exactly. I was looking at stuff last night, and I wrote some notes, and I was going to do a video this morning. I didn't get to, but anyway, the governor of Texas signed some kind of thing in the Texas Constitution or whatever that because Biden didn't secure the border, then he's going to call something in Texas law where he can secure the border. I don't know if it was Texas or the Constitution, or he can secure the border from invaders. Well, hello, immigrants aren't invaders, right? It's not like they're attacking. So he's going to try to use that. And my psychic light bulb went on full gear. I'm thinking, okay, so basically what Abbott just did was to give fuel to the fire for the Marjorie Taylor Greens to try to impeach Biden because it's an election year, and it's not going to work. The Supreme Court already said that the directives that Biden took in place that the state has to follow. And that statement by Abbott was just a middle finger to the Supreme Court. If they call in National Guard troops, each state has their own, but I know what's going on. That's Trump's way of saying he's supporting Abbott and is trying to make Biden look bad. I mean, if Biden has to, he'll send in the military.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to get that far?
I think they're going to go try to get as far as they can. And then I can see Trump saying, you see, he turned the military against, their own people. But what did he try to do when he said shoot them all during the Black Lives Matter protest?
Right.
And when he's at that rally holding the Bible upside down and all that stuff. So, he wants to create insurrection. He wants to create chaos. And, when he was running for president before, he vilified the Muslims and the Mexicans. And he's doing it now with immigration. His base will be his base. And he would like for this country to be divided and almost in a civil war. But ultimately, I do not see him being successful at all.
Yeah. I almost feel like Biden might have to call in the National Guard on down into Texas. But I do feel like there's some trouble for Abbott because of what he's doing too.
Oh, total trouble.
Legal
He's
trouble.
in deep doo-doo.
Well, and I think we all know too that this is the only thing that Republicans have to talk about. I mean, they had some kind of border security bill that was bipartisan that everybody was like, this is the best bill we're going to get. Everybody sign on. And then, you know, Trump's more than likely going to win the primary. And so he's really against that because it's something he can fight, he can talk about. And now they're all caving into the pressures of Trump. So it's really just about the optics. They don't care about getting anything done for the border. They just want something to
You're right.
fight the Biden administration for.
It's all about the optics.
Yeah.
But I don't think Nikki Haley's going to give up that easy. Now, I don't like her politics. I don't like her. But even when she does throw the towel in, she's going to work behind the scenes to keep Trump from being elected, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They had said that he's going to start vilifying her. I put up a video yesterday morning or the day before, and boom, right after New Hampshire, he started.
Yeah.
So you're right. This Texas thing is about optics. It's totally about optics. You know, the Democrats have got to be more assertive and start to speak up more about the accomplishments. Biden has accomplished more since any president since 1963.
Mm.
And I think the Democrats have got to take the offensive. Like, we had a great bill put together, and you're the ones, the House Republicans, that refused to put it through.
I see them campaigning and pushing on that. I do see that Democrats are going to gain that fire and that voice to really kind of put the Republicans in their place.
I see Becky Gilberto in the House.
Hey, Becky.
Says, I'm on vacation here in the South, and boy, oh boy, are the optics different on local television.
Oh, I'm sure.
In Alabama. I'm sure. So, but I see like the news starting to push, instead of giving Trump so much impetus, the bill that didn't go through and the things that Biden has accomplished. And I think the Democrats have got to be a little bit more, take the offensive more.
Mm-hmm. And really work on the messaging. I see them doing that, though. And I agree with you, too. Nikki Haley almost reminds me of Liz Cheney, where I see her being really optimal for rebuilding the Republican Party when it implodes. I think she's going to drop out after South Carolina or Super Tuesday. That's what I'm getting. I don't think she's got a path forward because most of the Republicans really don't care for her. She's getting a lot of independent support. And actually, I think if she were to get the nomination, it would not be good for Democrats. But
well, the fact that she did so well in New Hampshire, I don't think Trump thought she'd do that well, even though he won by 10 points.
Yeah, he's mad that he wants to end the primary. That's why he's going against her. But
correct.
Mm-hmm.
But he does what he does to all of his opponents. You know, he vilifies them, and you know, they're trying to make Biden look bad. You know, everything they can do. You know, don't you think it's a little corny that they would start talking impeachment during an election year?
Mm.
But this whole border thing, I mean, it's going to keep coming to light that there was the best deal on the table that they could have done, and they refused to pass it. So
yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Mountain Dancer says supposedly Jeffries is meeting up with President Biden and Dems. Let's hope they start speaking up. I think that they're going to. Kathy says Democrats need to take a lesson from the Dems on the House Oversight Committee. They're on fire. Absolutely. And I really see that young progressive leadership really coming out fiery against the Republicans and really letting them have it. I do see a big momentum and push with the messaging and speaking out on Biden's accomplishments. So
I agree. I totally agree.
All right. The thing is with Nikki Haley in New Hampshire, though, it's a little bit different in that race because you can change. They have such a heavy independent party there. I think it's about split with the Democrat and the Republicans, and you can change your party affiliation the day of. Most of the other states, you have to be registered Republican, and I see Trump doing overwhelmingly good with that base.
Right.
All right. We talked about that. Robin says, human trafficking issue is coming to light more and more with focus on Texas and Florida as entry-exit access points. Texas Governor Abbott is ignoring federal law. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, it reminds me, you're too young to remember this, but when they passed the bill that schools had to segregate in the South, and I remember they were going to send an African-American kid to this all-white school. Mm-hmm. And George Wallace, who was the governor of Alabama at the time, said he would block the school, and he stood in front of the school and was like, this is not going to happen, And I think the president sent in the military or the National Guard to make sure that the schools were segregated. And I can remember that there were all these military people around these African-American kids as they went into the school. So it's going to be kind of the same thing. Abbott can try all he wants, but, the federal government is not going to play games with him.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I do feel like Florida, though, there's a focus on Florida specifically with the human trafficking that's going to, I don't know, some big news about Florida with the trafficking. I don't have to say that doesn't happen in Texas, but I do feel like something big with trafficking in Florida.
Well, they keep saying human trafficking, okay, but I think the Republicans might try to use that as a ploy to make themselves look good. Mm. There are immigrants crossing the border. Yes, I get that. But I think they're playing it up way too big. And it's just for optics, you're right. So I'm not saying trafficking is not happening, but not to the degree that they're saying it is. Mm. Any of it's wrong. But Abbott's going to be in trouble, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I see that too. Oh, can I just say it's not really a question, but rather a comment. I'm really excited. I heard that Jon Stewart is coming back for The Daily Show and will be on for up to the election. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Me too.
I always loved his commentary.
Me too.
All right. And this is more of a statement, too, that I just saw. But Julie Short says, I think the Biden camp will be putting out a lot of his accomplishments during summer, closer to the election, while it's fresh in people's minds. I agree.
They need to start now.
Mm-hmm. But I do see a big push and a lot of momentum. It feels like summertime. I think they're getting started now.
Biden gets credit for zero. Mm-hmm. Okay. The Republicans, since they've taken over the House, notice when the Democrats had the House, there wasn't so much chaos and anarchy. The minute they took over, all the chaos started. They got rid of McCarthy. They're going to try to get rid of Johnson. Okay. Yeah. Now, Mitch McConnell, I thought he would have come to his senses, but, he's, Mitch, step to his stuff again, Well, guess what? I see him voted out as well.
I think McConnell with his health challenges will step down this year.
Well, I see him voted out, instead of towing the party line, he should be the one, and he knows behind the scenes. He can't stand Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. But, I think he and Biden were friendly, but I don't know. I see his wings being clipped too.
Yeah. I almost feel like it, like I said, I think with this implosion of the Republican Party, it's like out with the old leadership and then more of the sane Republicans coming in and really helping to rebuild it. Not that there's a whole lot of sane ones, but I've always felt like Liz Cheney, Nikki Haley very well might be part of that too. Mitt Romney.
Right. I agree with that.
Let's see. Cicero says, will laws change to dictate the length of a presidential campaign season?
No.
I don't see them changing that, but I like I said, I told everybody, we're going to have to make sure that we stay grounded and keep the faith, get out there and fight for what's right and speak our truth. If it's a bit overwhelming with the news, take a break from it, kind of breathe and ground. But it's going to be a bit hectic. It always is with presidential elections, but this one's the most important election that we've ever had. All right. Pink Lady says, do you see Congress passing a comprehensive immigration bill even though Republicans are trying to stop it, as the Republicans seem to be losing seats?
I see the Democrats taking back over the House. And once that happens, we will get comprehensive immigration. And at some point, aid to Ukraine. Oh, Mitch McConnell was against that too. But in the beginning, he was all for it. Will they ever stop to think that, he's playing the political notes? Do they ever stop to think that if Putin takes over Ukraine, then what's going to stop him from taking over other countries in Eastern Europe? And I think behind the scenes that certain Republican politicians are aware of that. So I think behind the scenes are probably praying, many of them, that Trump doesn't win.
Yeah.
Well, here we go again. But notice once again, when the Republicans took over the House, especially the MAGAs, that all of a sudden all of this chaos starts, this disharmony, and Trump is behind all that. He's running the House.
I do see a comprehensive immigration bill getting passed. To me, it feels more like 2025. But what I'm picking up, I do feel like there will be border security. It doesn't feel like it's this current bill that they're all kind of flipping against, but I do see them working on it still, and I do see something getting passed, I feel like, before the next election. But I do also feel like Biden is going to get a little bit harder on the border security as well. That's just what I
think a lot of the border security is, like when Trump was running before, I'm going to put up a great wall. The Bannon collected money for it, never used it for that.
Right.
And the wall fizzled. That's not the answer.
Yeah.
But, they say it's a crisis at the border, but I don't know if it's a crisis they're saying it is. I'm not saying it's not happening, but I think they're politicizing it for the optics of the thing.
And I agree. I do think it's a crisis, though. I mean, I think it's record refugees coming through, but I do see Biden needing to kind of step up on that and doing that before the election. But I think Republicans, they're showing their hand too, that they really don't care about the border, or all the fentanyl coming through, all the drugs coming through.
Trump didn't give one hoot about the border or abortion or any of that. He just plays to that ultra right wing MAGA movement, and that's what's going on.
Yeah, but I do see something getting passed. Like I said,
so do I. But I think it's more like 2025.
Yeah. I agree. All right.
Joe Eliza says, here, I'll show you this. Joe Eliza's right. The crisis has been there for many, many years. It's not a new problem. And that is correct.
Yeah. But I do see them, I do see an immigration reform bill coming. I think that's going to probably be like one of the first priorities in 2025. All right. Julie says, will more people start to shut Trump down like the judge did today?
I don't know what happened. What happened? I didn't hear about it.
He testified, and it was very brief, but then I guess he stormed out of the courtroom saying that this isn't America or something like that. He got all razzled up. I didn't hear the whole story about it.
But how did the judge put him? What did the judge do?
Well, I think he put in strict restrictions of what they could ask him and what he could testify about. Because that case has he's already been found by a jury that, he sexually assaulted E. Jean Carroll. So he can't relitigate that case. And he can't turn it into a rally. So I think he was PO'd because he couldn't go off.
Well, he can storm out of the courtroom all he wants, but it's kind of funny.
Chuckin's not going to be easy.
Trump is going to appeal that case, and he's going to lose on the appeal. I mean, she's going to get a nice chunk of money, and every time he opens his mouth about her, she's going to sue for more money. She's not going to stop. So good.
Yeah. I think it's supposed to be wrapped up tomorrow, if I understood what I heard correctly. And I think that he's going to have to kind of pay.
Uh,
Thank
you
you,
know,
Karen.
oh,
That
can
is
you-
very.
can-
It was
can I-
decided by a judge. Thank you.
Can I put this one up real quick?
Yeah.
I like this one. You know, I put in my notes yesterday that everybody that runs for president, he started stuff like with Obama. When Obama was running against, was McCain, right? Trump started that whole birtherism, that whole birther movement going. Like he wasn't born in Hawaii, and Obama kind of gave into it and said, you know, showed his certificate of live birth. If I were Obama, I would have never done that. Okay. And then, you know, Hillary Clinton, oh, she's a crook, she's going to be in jail, and all the crap he pulled about her. All right. Then Biden, Sleepy Joe, his son, blah, blah, blah. And now he's starting the birtherism stuff about Nikki Haley. It's like, it's a playbook from everything he's done in the past. And now he came out with Nikki Haley and he said, I'm going to bring out like 5 or 6 things about her that's going to make her look so bad. He said that about this Satan, but he never came up with anything. Just like with Obama, when Obama was running, you know, I've got proof in Hawaii. I'm going to have somebody come on here and I'm going to show you that he wasn't born here. And he never came up with anything. Yeah. So it's the same story.
It is.
I mean, it's like a record player.
It'll be so nice when he's no longer around to hear all of this vile garbage that he spews.
I think if the news media would start giving kudos to the Biden administration for what they have done and stop giving so much Trump attention, you know, we'd be having a different conversation.
Yeah.
You know, Trump makes...
It's all about keeping people in a state of fear and resistance, and that's what keeps people watching the news all day. So it's all about the ratings and money.
Right. So Trump's going to, you know, hopefully his mouth will get him in trouble, like it always
I see it getting him in trouble. Absolutely. Like I said, this judge came in hard. Was it Angeron with the civil case? I see Judge Chutkin, she's not going to play either. So.
Oh no, the only one that's going to show that she's in Trump's pocket is Loose Cannon. I see them. I don't know. Her career is pretty much done after this. But Chutkin's not going to put up with any nonsense whatsoever.
I agree.
Lisa Foster said, I look sophisticated today. Thanks, Lisa.
Kat says Trump is pressuring the Senate and House Republicans to not pass the supplemental, which includes funding for Ukraine and the border, so Biden will get blamed. Will the supplemental pass before the election? I see it getting passed.
I do too. And I see, even if they say Ukraine, the same politicians that were for Ukraine in the beginning are now saying, oh, we don't want to help out. Well, guess what? I see behind the scenes, Biden is working on ways to get money to Ukraine. And I see money coming to them through the European Union. Japan will kick in more money. And NATO is going to kick in money and weapons. So
I do see the Democrats being able to get some kind of funding for Ukraine, and I do see some for Israel and for the border. They'll get it worked out. I don't know when, but I think before the election.
Well, if they're smart, they will. Because if they don't fund Ukraine and they don't fund the things we're talking about, it's just more nails in their coffin. You know, it's funny. People think that Trump, his base thinks that, you know, he's all that in a piece of toast. If an independent or Democrat had done anything like that, like with rape, and I heard somebody say, one sign of a democracy decaying is when you get candidates like Trump, where the abnormal seems to be normal. And we have to keep speaking up about it. I mean, the man got Nikki Haley confused with Nancy Pelosi.
Right. Keep saying that he was running against Obama in 2016. What was I going to say? I lost it. It'll come back to me, I guess.
Sorry.
Oh, well, just to make a point of what you were referring to, his base literally thinks he's the second coming of Christ. Like they're so brainwashed by Trump, he could literally murder somebody and they would still support him. But that's a small minority of the American public.
If any other president, past president, had been in a civil court of law found responsible for pretty much raping somebody, all right, they would be like, if a senator did that, or if a House member did that. I mean, look what they did to Franken for supposedly touching somebody's breast. He resigned. If anybody else did that, they would be up in arms. How can they close their eyes with the testimony that happened in that case, and that the fact is he totally was so inappropriate with that woman? I mean, it's like, what have these people come to? I mean, are they that drunk on Trump, and are they really drinking the Kool-Aid that much?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a cult. A lot of them are brainwashed. But what I find really interesting is, that small percentage of the Republican Party that's tired of Trump, and those independents that lean Republican that are going for Haley. When they did the exit polling, I think like 80 or 90% of them said if Trump is charged, that they would not vote for him for president. And I see him being charged, and I see a lot of people not voting for him besides his extremist base.
Well, he's already been charged. You mean convicted? Convicted,
I meant. Thank you.
Well, critical thinking with some of that small group has been suspended. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, I see that case. Well, it might be too old to turn over for prosecution. There might be a statute of limitations on it. I don't know. But I see that fraud case in New York being turned over for criminal prosecution. So he's going to be in trouble in a lot of areas.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to post this up because we were just talking about it. Robin says, Alina Habba called President Trump to the stand today. The judge promptly reprimanded her. You mean Donald John Trump. It was so great to read. He was on the stand for 3 minutes. Yeah, I did think it was very, very long. I love that.
He was whispering in her ear when she remember when she said, oh, well, my parents had COVID. I tested negative, but I don't have symptoms. And the judge didn't buy it. And Trump was whispering in her ear. They heard it. Well, don't forget the primary on Tuesday in New Hampshire.
Right.
You tell me that wasn't, they were trying to manipulate the court. The court didn't buy that either. The judge didn't buy that.
Right. Well, it was delayed for, I think, 2 days, but yeah. Other countries are still supporting Ukraine's with drones, ammunition, weapons, and money. Yeah, I think I heard that Japan just gave them $1 billion a couple weeks ago. Kind of help.
I think, okay.
Barbara says, we did kind of talk on Nikki Haley. I don't see Nikki Haley as the nominee.
I don't see
something different, but I don't see it.
Okay.
Did you say you don't see it either, right, Mel?
I don't see it either. But she's not going to drop out right away. Okay. And you know what? Once she's out, then I wonder how much he'll badmouth her. DeSantis just endorsed Trump, but Trump doesn't like DeSantis, and Trump will use those people for whatever he can get out of them. When he's done, he'll throw them away. But she's going to be formidable against Trump. So,
well, Trump isn't happy with DeSantis. I don't think he personally likes them, but I did see that Florida was trying to give taxpayer money to help pay Donald Trump's legal bills, and DeSantis vetoed that bill that they were trying to do. So he's not happy.
Yeah, because if it went to the House and the Senate in Florida, even if it passed, it would go to the Supreme Court, and they would say absolutely not.
Oh yeah, and Peter Navarro, Trump's attorney, was sentenced to 4 months in prison for the contempt for Congress.
That's another thing that bothers me. They can give their middle finger to Congress, and for the January 6th commission, and they get like 4 months in jail. Anybody else would have gotten a couple years.
Right.
And yet Hunter Biden, he wants the thing to be public, and he showed up, and they were mad about it, but they were like, go after him because he's in contempt of Congress. Well, hello, what about these people? They don't say anything about that, do they?
Right.
Peter Navarro, I see him in
more trouble for him.
I see him in a lot more trouble. So
yep, I do too. All right. I'm sure he's already appealed that, but I don't see that working for him.
He's not going to turn it over an appeal, that's for sure. Uh,
Do you see Republicans actually getting the votes to impeach Biden in the House?
Hi, Lisa. How are you? Lisa's from Kentucky, my buddy near Fairdale. I don't think they'll get it. And, here's what's going to start coming up. The Dems, some of the middle of the road Republicans and independents are going to be like, wait a minute. You all can't even pass a bill to keep the government open. You can't pass a bill for infrastructure or border security, and you yap about it, but yet when you get one on the table that's decent, you won't even pass it. But
Right.
yet you're wasting taxpayers' money trying to impeach Biden for something he hasn't done. I'm telling you that Abbott's going to be feeding them the stuff like, well, he didn't secure the borders and that's what he was supposed to do, so he broke the law. That's what they're going to try to go on.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll get enough votes in the House. I don't think so. But if it goes to the Senate, I don't think Schumer will even bring to the Senate floor.
Oh,
and
right.
If they do, it'll go no.
Impeachment on what? I mean, it's all BS that they're trying to, manipulate. It's all things that they're just trying to pull out of their butt because they're desperate. But I almost feel like, they'll try to impeach him, and maybe actually a couple times. But I do feel like there's a couple of holdouts on the Republican side that will not vote to impeach him.
You said it earlier when you were talking about the border thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the optics of it all. And it's to make him look bad. They're going to try anything they can, but it's not going to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
A lot can happen between now and the election.
And a lot will happen.
I looked at Alan Lichtman's stuff, and he was, he's predicted every presidential race since 1982 or 83, and he's got it right. He's got his 13 keys, and he's a professor. And he said he's never seen democracy so much in peril. He didn't quite say it that way. But, I don't know his predictions. I'm looking for it. But my feeling is he'll predict Biden will win. But they're going to try everything in their power to smear Biden. And I think that there's going to be a lot of people, saying it's just the optics. He didn't do anything illegal. And I just think they're looking for things. I mean, if he scratched his head wrong, they would look for that.
Right.
But it's just the optics, Kevin. You're right. I mean, it's all about the optics of it. And, it's coming. A lot of that playbook is coming directly from Trump, like how he's trying to manipulate the courts or how he's trying to manipulate the election. And where's that playbook coming from? Putin. Because Putin wants Trump in office, because if Trump is, then Putin knows Trump will work with him to weaken NATO. And then he knows that Trump won't do anything if he really tries to escalate the war with Ukraine.
Yeah. It's so interesting because as you were saying that, it just kind of brought me back to Hillary Clinton must be very intuitive because she said it from the beginning. She called Trump Putin's puppet. So
that's she's right.
He's a puppet.
That's his new name, Putin's puppet. I like that. Puppet.
Yeah. I don't know why that just came to me, but.
Well, thanks for sharing that because Hillary's right. Putin's puppet.
He's already sent federal troops to Texas. I'm assuming she means Biden. They are ordered to remove the wire trap in the Rio Grande. Yeah, I see the wires coming down. I think somebody else had asked about that. I remember when I first heard that he was doing that, I had an awful vision while I was live of a woman and her children hanging from it, and it really disturbing. Disgusting.
Well, look at when that lady and her kid drowned. 3 people drowned, and other people wanted to help them, and the police or whoever that was watching over said, "Oh no, you can't." What human being could watch people drown and not do anything?
Right.
I mean, or restrict other people that are trying to help. At some point, those people that were supposedly law enforcement, and I'm all about law enforcement, don't get me wrong, but that kept people from trying to help those drowning people, they're going to be called to task on that. And I see them getting in trouble for it.
I do too. I mean, how inhumane can you be to separate parents and children and put them in cages? Like, it's disgusting how they treat the refugees coming across.
Well, actually, it's like a concentration camp. It's kind of like
Exactly.
what Trump vilifies everybody. And now, he's vilifying, here again, the thing at the border, the Mexicans, it's like,
yeah,
it's terrible. Disgusting. He's a bigot, and it's not going to go away. It's just getting worse. I mean, there is a powder keg happening, and I see this year that powder keg's going to explode.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let me just go through some of these questions we already touched upon.
While you're scrolling through, I'm going to read this from Juanita Hyde. She said that Nikki is staying in the race. They need as many voices as possible to keep on pointing out that Trump has mental illness, which makes him unfit to be president. I mean, his stuff is unhinged. It really is.
Yeah. I don't typically do very good at predicting big games. But Jenny wants to know who's going to win, Detroit Lions or what's the other team? Is that San Francisco?
San Francisco. Is it the 49ers, I think?
Yeah, I think the 49ers.
Well, Linda Grendel's a really big 49ers fan. So I'm going to say 49ers because I want that for her. But I want to tell you something. Detroit's going to be awesome. They're going to play like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah. It's interesting because as I look at it, I am being pulled more towards the Lions. But intuitively, I was kind of feeling more of the 49ers. So I agree with you. I think it will be a close game. Maybe the Lions lead until the very end, and then the 49ers catch up.
That's what I was going to say. It's going to be, in the beginning, it'll be a little boring. But then at the end, like the last half, it'll get a nail biter. And right at the very end, I see one of them either scoring a touchdown or a field goal or a conversion or something.
Mm-hmm.
And right when the clock's about to run out, and boom, that'll be it.
Yeah.
I know Linda likes the 49ers, and for her behalf, I'll say 49ers. But I really want to go with the Detroit Lions. Not that I'm a fan of them, I'm not. But I'm a 49ers fan.
I don't really care about sports personally, so.
Right.
But I don't know. Like I said, out of the two, I was being pulled to the Lions, so I guess we'll see. I think it will be a very tight game.
Yeah, I normally don't watch football that much, but I'm going to be watching it. See if I'll bite my nails.
Becky says Chris Sununu is trying to talk sense to Republicans and getting dismissed literally by the far-right press. Will he and Cheney team up?
Sununu is the Republican governor of New Hampshire, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be very vocal against Trump. And I think behind the scenes, he and Cheney will do some work together. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I'll just say, though, there's something about Chris Sununu that really kind of turned me off, especially when he was pushing so hard for Haley, but really attacking Biden, too. I mean, I don't think he is very honorable himself. So, but I agree with you. I do see him trying to be part of this new Republican Party. But, yeah, I'm personally not a big fan.
I just put that up. Trump had been calling Nikki a bird brain, and yet he appointed her UN ambassador.
Well, what's so funny, too, and he won't do it, but Nikki Haley says if you want to compare, like, cognitive, abilities, let's go to a debate and prove it. Trump won't debate her. He won't waste his time with it, but...
well, because he knows he'd lose. He's not going to debate Biden because Biden said, "Are you crazy, man?" He's not going to debate him. He won't debate anybody. He's just using these trials to use it as a political show and say, you see what they're doing to me, and they're going to do it to you. In fact, he stole a line from Kamala Harris when she was talking about women's rights. You need to elect us because they'll be coming for you. That's what he's saying. Oh, they're going to be coming for you, but I'm going to stand in their way. I'm going to stand in the middle. Yeah, right. He's used the whole thing to politicize to gain favor for his campaign.
Yeah. I don't know. The thing that I think that was rubbing me wrong with Sununu, sorry to kind of go back to it, is even though he's so they were pressuring, he's still pressured by Trump. If Nikki Haley doesn't win the nomination, he has no courage or backbone to stand up against Trump. He said that he would vote for Trump, even though
Who did?
Chris Sununu, the governor of New Hampshire. That's what I'm saying. He's kind of spineless. I just don't. I'm not a fan.
Yeah. See, I don't get that. If you're going to be against somebody, be against them. You don't have to toe the party line.
Yeah, they were really trying to pressure him, and he's like, "Well, I'm a Republican, and the only person worse than Trump would be Biden. 4 more years of Biden." So, I mean, he's still, part of that cult. Yeah, I did hear about this. Artist says 64,500 rapes have happened since Roe v. Wade was overturned. Did Republicans/Trump do that so they could dismiss rape, especially to young girls? The war against women must stop.
It is a war against women. Now they're trying to ban contraception. I mean, saying that women can't have contraception at all. How about making the men then, if they get somebody pregnant and the woman's not taking contraception, how about forcing them to get like a vasectomy? Or how about banning condoms? How would that work?
Right. Well, that's how extreme some of them are with it.
They're going to try it. And what? If it goes to the court, there'll be people stupid enough on the court, like what was the woman justice, Amy Coney Barrett?
Barrett, yeah.
That would say, "Oh yeah, well, I'm against contraception." She calls herself a Catholic, but the type of Catholicism she practices is not sanctioned by the Catholic Church. I can tell you that, right?
Rose Blue says ban Viagra. Absolutely.
Right.
It's crazy, and I do think the Supreme Court is taking that abortion pill case, and I think that they'll try to push it off to the states too. It's just going to continue to kind of escalate, and I see women being pissed off and rallying and protesting, and I see women as what's actually going to get Biden reelected, and Democrats.
It'll be women, minorities, LGBTQ, Hispanics, African Americans. That'll put them in office. I heard I saw some polls that said a lot of Hispanic young people and Black men or African American men would vote for Trump. I don't know where they got that poll, but you can't always believe what polls say. You can't. And so I don't know.
I've heard from some of my African American subscribers that say that their younger family members say that they won't vote for Biden. I do see that there's some energy around that.
There is, but the thing with that is a refusal to vote for Biden is a vote for Trump.
Exactly. Do you think Trump's going to treat you? I think the thing is a lot of young people and younger minorities specifically, feel like Biden and Democrats aren't doing anything for them, personally. So there's that frustration. But do you think you're going to get anything with Trump as president? Do you think Trump's going to fight for you? I think Biden's been a bit limited with what he can do, especially since, you have those two Republicans in the Senate that are Democrats, Manchin and Sinema, that were throwing a wrench in all of his plans his first 2 years, and then the House went crazy and went to the Republicans.
Trump isn't going to do squat for the minorities, so it might be a handful, but it's not all. I'm telling you, because
I see the energy shifting before the election too.
The young people, most of them are going to vote for Biden. I can tell you that.
I agree. You have some factions in the Democratic Party too.
Of course.
I consider myself progressive, but some of the Bernie supporters were not very helpful or enthused with Hillary being president, and that's why we got Trump.
And that's why we got Trump.
Yeah.
Could I just touch on the thing in Ohio when about what they're doing with rights of transgendered. And the governor vetoed it, but then I think what did they do? They took it
Maybe even more restrictive, I think.
No, but then because the House and the Senate there then tried something else, they overrode his veto.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. I think there's a way in Ohio where if they don't like that, they can put it on the ballot if they get enough votes or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I see that overturned at some point.
Yeah.
I see Ohio turning purple. I do.
I still feel like the Republicans in Ohio, even though they voted to, in this last election, to, for women's rights and even marijuana being legalized in the state, I see Republicans trying to not honor the will of the voters, and I see people getting really upset. I think Ohio will stay a bit more towards the red side, but come closer. But I think Sherrod Brown, the Democrat who's up for re-election for the Senate, I see him winning. So it will help with that. We have 866 watching. Do us a favor, please hit that thumbs up. Please go over to Mel's channel, subscribe. Please subscribe to my channel. We really appreciate that. Lots of people watching us tonight, Mel. We're popular.
There you go.
All right.
I'm starring as we go along.
It's all right. I'm trying to too. Kathy Rollins says, there's a concerted effort by Trump and allies to get Fani Willis removed as DA. Will they succeed? I don't see them being successful.
Trump and his cronies have been trying to get her dismissed and off the case as the DA for a long time.
Yeah.
It looks like there's more scuttlebutt coming out, but I'm telling you, Trump very indirectly through his sources was responsible in talking to that lead prosecutor's ex-wife to get her to release stuff, which she should not have done. But he might step down, but I see somebody else more tough than him in his place. And I still see Fani. What they're trying to do is delay, because isn't it supposed to go to trial like in March or something?
I think they're shooting for August. I think it might be pushed a little bit though. Well,
remember when she said November, and I'm thinking that's not going to happen. But they're going to try to delay it until and after the election, and this is a delay tactic. But they're not going to win. I see Fani on that case.
Yeah. Well, the thing with it though too is it's such a big case with it being a RICO case. There's so many people involved. It's going to take them a while to to prosecute that case. But I agree with you. I kind of feel like it's, Republicans trying to interfere with that that case, and like you said, delay things or get her off the case. But I don't see them being successful with it. That prosecutor that she had a relationship with, I think will probably step down though.
Joe Eliza said they forget that Texas was part of Mexico years ago. That's true. Remember the Alamo.
I don't see Fani taking the Mace slot because canon delays. I think it will be later. Maybe it is August or September when the Georgia case comes, but I don't think it will be finished before the election.
I wonder what would happen if it did happen after the election. God forbid he's elected president. He's found guilty in Georgia. Would that be grounds for impeachment? I don't know.
Well, I think he'd be charged because he's immune for federal while he's president, but I wouldn't think that he's
not immune from state.
From state, exactly.
He'd try to push legislation to change that too, but
right,
it wouldn't work.
What happened to Ronna, the head of the RNC? I thought they were investigating her.
She's still being investigated.
I see her out.
So do I. I still see her being investigated.
Yeah, was it Michigan?
Yes.
With the fake electors, yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I still feel she's being investigated too. I don't think she's very popular either with the Republicans. I see them forcing her out.
I just put one up. Do you mind, Kevin?
Yeah, of course. Remember how many bills from the Democratic House Mitch McConnell never brought up to the floor? he even told the press his sole intent was to block Obama and prevent any Democratic legislation. Absolutely.
And what's going on in the House, it was a dangerous precedent because they're using that same obstructionist politics.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't do this, we're not going to do that. You're getting nothing. Well, wait till it changes. And how are they going to scream? They're going to be screaming foul play. He's still using the obstructionism. But Mitch, you're going to find out sorely, buddy, that it ain't working.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't even let him, he wouldn't even bring it to the Senate floor for hearings for Obama's nominee for Supreme Court. Well, because it's an election year. And then he backpedaled on that. You know what? I see it at some point, once these election cycles are over, in 2024, I see an end to this obstructionist politics from the MAGAs. It just doesn't work. If a Democrat had pulled that same obstruction politics because they wanted to keep a president from being reelected, oh my God, the Republicans would scream bloody murder. McConnell thought that Obama wouldn't serve two terms, but he was sorely mistaken. Right. And Obama got a lot done, even with McConnell's obstructionist tactics. So,
yeah, I agree, and I agree with you too. And it feels like it might even be before the election. As the Republican Party implodes, I think that some of the sane Republicans, the few there, really kind of try to cut the cancer out of their party. But I see them coming more to the center and being doing some bipartisan work to get some things accomplished. I agree with you.
So do I.
All right. Been on for almost an hour, but I think we're good for a couple more questions. What do you think?
We can do a couple more.
Okay. Florida House GOP passed a bill that bans social media for kids 16 and under. I am so infuriated about this, trying to control what my child can watch. Will this pass the Florida Senate?
If it does, and if it goes to the Supreme Court, they'll say, wait, it's against freedom of speech. You can't ban what people watch. You can try. But here's the deal. Let's say it does pass. How are they going to enforce it?
Right. Well, right. I do see them trying to pass it, but I see it being overturned or challenged.
Who's going to step in on that one are the big social media companies and say, wait a minute here. And why don't they want kids under 16 to watch social media? Why? Are they afraid that, that they might find out what's going on in real life? If it passes, it's not going to be enforceable. Every draconian thing that DeSatan has put in place in Florida, banning books, banning this, banning that, blah, 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 it's all going to be overturned at some point.
Yeah. Peggy Reiki Master says GOP are trying to control every part of our lives. Absolutely.
Under the guise of more personal freedom. What?
I don't see Russia getting their ass. They say that they want Alaska back. It's not going to happen. That's ridiculous.
Well, it could if Putin decided to invade Alaska, but that'd be an act of war against the United States.
I don't see that at all.
I don't see it happening either. I don't even think that Trump knows where Alaska is. Who was it that thought Africa was a country? Was it Sarah Palin?
Oh, right. She can see Alaska, can see Russia from her home.
I can see Russia from here. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, right.
Christian says a number of students have dropped out of PhD programs due to the coronavirus and grants that have been cut. Will Biden pass a new bill to help PhD students? Well,
he can sign the bill, but it has to come up in the House and then go through the Senate and then to the president.
Couldn't it come from the education department, I would assume?
That's true. At some point, I do see a lot more grants available to help PhD students.
I do too. It feels like a second term, though. I don't think it's happening right now.
Yeah, it's not happening right
now. All right. This is a good question, and I'm not really familiar with the politics over there, but Boundary says, Kevin and Mel, love you both. The Democratic Party. Do you see the Democratic Party winning in Romania this year? We're south of Ukraine and sharing the longest border with it.
Yeah, Romania is a big country. It shares the border with Bulgaria, part of Ukraine. And I think Putin was thinking if he could take over Ukraine, then he could go down into Romania and down through, I think it's Moravia or Moravia, whatever it is, that little country, and then go down into Romania. I see Democratic Party winning in Romania. Yes, I do. And I see, I think they're part of the European Union. And I don't know if they're part of NATO. They might be. But I see, Putin's already got that on his radar. But the Ukrainians will keep fighting.
Yeah.
And I think at some point Romania will be helping Ukraine. So I see a Democratic win, yes.
Yeah, I feel Democratic too. Like I said, I don't know anything about their politics, but that resonates to be true for me. This isn't a question, but it's so important. Becky says, vote, vote, vote.
Thank you. Hallelujah, Becky. Yes.
Yeah. To me, I do see a lot of people voting, even though right now I don't think there's a lot of excitement from either side. But I see, like I said, I feel like a lot of momentum for Biden and Democrats, especially in the summer. That's really getting people excited.
Yep.
All right. Kathy wants to know if student loans will be completely forgiven in 2025. I don't see them writing off every student loan, but I do see Biden's plan for student loan forgiveness that the Supreme Court blocked. I do see that going through.
That's what I see too.
And I see a big emphasis on pressuring some of these colleges that are just overly inflating their tuition prices. I see them coming down too. Maybe it's more federal money to help with it. I don't know. But I see tuition prices coming down because that's really the core of the issue right there.
Right. And the interest rates on student loans coming down as well.
Yep. Absolutely.
How much can I put this one up? This is a good comment. Kathy Rollins, go ahead.
If the Republicans decide to anoint Trump as the nominee before the primary plays out, that would effectively be the end of the GOP. There are a lot of Republicans that won't be happy.
They've already anointed him.
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell, they're well, we'll vote for him. Well, hello.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's going to look like he's gaining momentum for a while, and I'm telling you, it's going to look like he's winning, not the political race, but winning in the polls and winning, popularity, and he'll win a few battles, but he will not win the war. My guy telling me justice will be done.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see that's part of the problem. I mean, I've been saying it since I started my channel. The Republican Party is going to implode this year. Trump's going to drag the whole party down with him. I almost feel come the election time, the Republican Party has a stink to them that nobody wants to be around. Nobody is excited about. Nobody wants to be around them because of all the corruption.
I agree. By the way, Dan Pinaldi's in the house. He's an excellent artist. Hi, Dan. How are you?
Yeah. Oh, this is a good one. Is the SCOTUS trying to delay the ruling on immunity for Trump? Thank you.
I just think they're trying to figure out what they're going to do about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't heard arguments on it, so technically they shouldn't be making a decision. But they'll find a way to sidestep it. They really do, the way I see it. But it's going to take. I think it's not going to. I don't know. When are you thinking they'll make a ruling on it? I mean,
I don't think it's going to be too long, to be honest with you. Because we're waiting on the appeals court. I feel like Trump tries to appeal it to the Supreme Court. They don't even take it. I don't think that they even take the case.
So that's kind of what I felt. Some tap dance around it, or maybe uphold the decision of the lower court. I mean, the Supreme Court was being smart when they said, "Well, let's let it get through the lower courts first and see what happens."
I could be wrong, but if the the January 6th case is delayed. It doesn't feel like it's very delayed, but I almost felt like it wouldn't be delayed. I mean, we're getting up to February. They want to try it in beginning of March. So logically, I would say it would seem like it's going to be delayed, but I don't think it's going to be delayed too far. I see that case happening before the election and him being charged.
It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me how quickly that they got it to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was Jack Smith. I don't know. And if it's him, hooray. But other cases can take a year or two to get to the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
So it amazes me how quickly they got it there. But I see changes in the court too. I see the court coming more back toward the middle. And a lot of the things this court's overturning Roe v. Wade, I see a new court will uphold Roe v. Wade again.
Yeah, I almost feel like they'll pass it federally too.
They will.
Yeah. But I see people getting upset. I see the Supreme Court acting up. I don't remember what the case is called, but there's one about, I think the EPA, and I feel like people are going to be pissed off about that. That abortion drug. I think that they're going to push that out to the states. It's going to continue to add fuel to the fire for people to, go out and vote.
Well, if that's the case, it's almost like to Satan when he messed with Mickey Mouse. You don't do that.
All right. You hear my dog going on. Sorry.
And these big drug companies, like that manufacture those drugs, are going to be like, they'll still sell them in Europe, but they're going to be like, wait a minute. So they're not going to put their money behind a candidate like Trump, who Trump doesn't care about abortion or birth control, but he plays to that MAGA supposedly Christian base. If that's Christianity, count me out. But these drug companies are going to be really angry. Mm-hmm. They're going to sink their money on somebody or a candidate who wouldn't limit contraception or wouldn't limit contraception pills or morning after pills. And so what they don't realize is they're turning the big drug companies against them, and that you don't want to do because the drug companies have lots of money.
Yeah, right.
And they'll protect their interest.
Yeah. Well, and I think that kind of goes into the whole, what is it, Citizens United with, lobbyists. And I see at some point, it doesn't feel like it's too far off in the future. I see that they're really going to regulate businesses and trying to buy politicians. I think that that's part of this energy for restructuring and making our democracy stronger. I do see a push towards that.
I see an end to Citizens United at some point. In other words, they're going to, like right now, it looks like Planned Parenthood has lost a lot of clout, but they'll get their clout back at some point. Citizens United is going to lose a lot of clout in the future, as well as the NRA and some of those organizations. So
yeah,
and I see legislation being passed that some of those super PACs can't buy elections anymore. So
yeah, me too. It feels like there's a lot of rules and regulation changes that are going to be much needed. So I think it'll be a lot better. All right. Well, I think we're going to end it there. But if anybody would like a reading with Mel or interested in his Africa trip, how do they get a hold of you, Mel?
They can call my office 847-590-5411, or they can go on my website, www.meldoerr, meldoerr.com. There's brochures on there, and then they can leave a message on my website, and somebody will get back to you.
When you have don't you have a brochure for your trips on your website too?
Yes, I do. The brochures are.
If anybody wants to know kind of some of the fun that you're going to have, they can check that out too, I think, on your website.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, of course. And if anybody would like a reading, a Reiki session with me,
yes,
send me an email, kevinlovingvibrations@gmail.com. And please make sure that you hit that thumbs up. Please go over to Mel's channel, subscribe. Please subscribe to my channel. Let's get to 11K here very soon. We'll do another giveaway.
Good.
All right. So next week, I'll be on your channel, Mel?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Well, we will see you all next week. Sending you all a lot of love and blessings, and we'll see you really soon. All right. Bye, everyone.